think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
He's definitely being an edgelord. It's the same fucking bullshit.
An edgelord.
He really thinks it's funny.
Yeah.
I would almost take it more as if he was aware that he was doing it, which it's hard to not think that was deliberate, that he is doing it in like a backwards jest sort of. But then again, like when it's a billionaire doing it, I don't know what they have access to or what their thought train is, or like what they're just trying to ruin the planet. So I don't know.
Yeah, you just don't get, like I say, you just don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and I think it's like we know what they're thinking because they tell us all the time. Like he has access to the largest propaganda network in American culture and Western culture, certainly. And he supports far-right nationalist, racist organizations through that propaganda network. So that's all I need to know, right? Yeah. And throws up a fucking salute like that. And he can say whatever he wants. I don't care. Like whether it was intentional or not, it's definitely emblematic of where he stands. So
yeah,
fucking garbage. I don't know. I'm trying very hard not to pay too close. I remember the last time racist grandpa came into power, and it was all fucking shock and awe coming in, and then it was just shitting the bed and shitting the bed.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree.
And I can feel the bed shitting already beginning, and I'm just like, okay, well, we're just gonna get through the bed shitting part, and then we'll see like F.
Yeah, he doesn't have enough diapers for this round. They won't manufacture enough.
Yeah, none of the diaper manufacturers will insure him any longer for the tidal wave of bullshit that he just farts out on a daily basis. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's easy. It's another situation where like I detest these people's ability to control the discourse, and I just remember what it was like last time. And we owe it to ourselves to just go, well,
You never want to be in any kind of position where like you're being led around by some aged weirdo who's got an agenda.
No, definitely not. And you don't want to end up one of their employees on a spaceship.
No,
that might result in some difficulties for you, I think.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, me too. I can't quite place it though. But we should move on to the movie we're talking about today. Here on the X-tinction Agenda with James,
and Chris.
And all day, for whatever reason, I've been doing one of those like those announcer things for both of you. I was like the inimitable and blah blah blah. I've just kept rhyming in my head all day. And now that we've reached the moment, I can't find any of the rhymes that were in my head. But
man,
you're a hype machine.
Yeah, my hype machine completely fucking shit the bed. And that's just the way it is sometimes. Maybe as we close out, the spirit will be good, right? And I'll be ready to go. So, Prometheus, 2012. Ridley Scott's back in the saddle. We've got what's that guy's, the writer's name? John Spate. And David Lindelof. Sorry, I should have these things in front of me. That's the dude's name, right? What's the fucking
Damon?
Damon Lindelof. Yeah, pardon me. Spates did the original script. Lindelof came in and did some script doctoring, did a rewrite, and the two of them, produced what we get here. And Ridley is a crazy old man at this point, and just enthusiastically going along in the best way possible. And yeah, this brings us to the prequel territories of the Alien franchise, and which was weird at the time back in 2012. This is our first, I'd say, proper return to the Alien franchise, because there was Alien versus Predator and all that stuff, but that shit didn't count. And the enthusiasm for this was like, I went to the theater for this, saw it in 3D.
Oh,
Me and
Yeah,
Adam,
too.
it was fucking cool. And then, but at the same time, I've complained in the past about how this movie fucking irritated me, but recent developments have shown me that this movie is in fact a bright shining light. and I actually quite like it. Some of my complaints still stand about it, I think, and if anything, they're sort of amplified. But yeah, I think this is pretty good, and I think the hate that gets thrown at it, and speaking to my past self, it doesn't quite deserve it.
Nice.
Yeah. How do you guys feel?
well, I'm the resident weird super fan, so I love it. I like Fassbender. I get some of the hate because
Mhm.
it's a far stray from the normal Alien sort of theme, and it's also kind of a stray from horror. There are horrific moments,
Mhm.
but I feel that it's more of a space adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then that's sort of, the science is dumber, and what they're talking about, like the themes that they weave through about sort of like, self-discovery, religion, God, and he overreaches to a point where everything gets sort of like generalized in a pseudo intellectual way, and I could see how that would be bothersome to some people.
Yeah, certainly. And Chris,
Yeah, we feuded bitterly for years about this one. I'm so pleased
I think we still will a little bit. I think, but I just have a lot more goodwill towards this movie than I had previously. Yeah.
I don't think we will, because watching this have come back a little more towards the middle. Weirdly enough, because I was very high on it, and I really like this movie still. So don't get me wrong, but I think I realized that some of what I really liked about this movie was the promise of where it might go next. And then when we got where it might go next in Covenant, it's not, some of the payoff just doesn't have the same sparkle for me, like the excitement of like you could do any, like I wanted to know about the engineers and like that home world, and like what would we discover next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but still great. I definitely see why you might not like this movie. Not you specifically, but like people who are haters. Like it is, I think you nailed it. It's more of a science fiction movie, and I think James, you said recently that like science has to be core to the plot in this. I think that science is core to the plot in this, like the genetic sort of like goo that is like responsible for creating life, and those. But I love the bigger questions of like, this is just swinging for the fences. It's trying to look at like, who are we, why are we here. It does it in this goofy kind of Ancient Aliens way, but like still, like, but the fact that it's like it gives you that, and it gives you like these characters, like Shaw has this faith, but at the core of it is pessimistic as fuck, and it gives you all that just to slap you in the face and say your creator doesn't care about you. In fact, would crush you in an instant if it ever met you, which is fun.
Yeah.
Very Lovecraftian in that sense.
Yeah, they even has a giant fucking tentacle horror at the end.
And this is been commented on quite. In fact, Guillermo del Toro's wanted to make, it's probably common knowledge, but wanted to make at the Mountains of Madness, and like this movie killed the project because he said like this is basically, Ridley Scott gave us the movie already, and that like
interesting.
The plot of that is basically these archaeologists go in the Arctic, the Antarctic,
Yeah.
They find these mountains and they find like an elder civilization that was like had mastered everything, like they could do anything, but they had these servant creatures that eventually rose up and took over, and like the scientists are kind of discovering their origins. And yeah, it's very, very similar.
Interesting. I didn't actually know the plot of In the Mountains of Madness, or the premise or whatever, which is kind of shameful. Shame on me. Okay, so I don't know, maybe it'll be instructive to just begin with what's fucking stupid about this movie, because it's got a lot of cool stuff, and we'll get to the cool stuff, but let's, sometimes it's helpful just to be antagonistic and let the conversation go from there.
Sure.
Let's go.
So the ancient aliens thing. Why? What?
The people from space, the hieroglyphic giant man from space has been seen on 4 continents. Impossible.
Yeah, and it doesn't really match what we see at the beginning. Like I really do like the beginning where what we referred to in the movie as engineers, the big blue dude. It opens up in Antarctica, the big water fountain, not Antarctica, Iceland, and he drinks the goo or whatever, and then he just fucking and disintegrates in that horrible scene where his leg snaps.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like Ridley knows, he's very violent, very very aggressive, and I love that opening, and it makes me think of the engineers as a sort of death cult, because that's a suicide. Like they seed the universe with, or at least planets with, life. That's what we're shown in that moment by fucking suicide bombing in a way, like they're and
yeah, almost like, and then they give like a rebirth which seeds all the life, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like it's sort of a
I think tapping into that, like the sort of like ancient sort of cycle of like sacrifice leading to regeneration, that sort of thing, like is the effect. But I love the idea of like the like a darker like death cult thing to it. Yeah,
because and then like look at their architecture. Everything we see about them is demonic and black and Giger-esque. And fine, this might be a military installation, but we are led to believe that it's a military installation that is going to be like marshaled against Earth for some reason. And like we don't get anything. And even when the engineer emerges, like he tries to kill them. And it's that, like, fine. I mean, perhaps it works on a symbolic level, but like it doesn't make any lick of sense in the way that you want an alien movie to.
We do get hints, and like you probably know about the deleted scene, right?
Yeah, I watched the deleted scene. Actually, I should say the things that I did in preparation for this. So I listened to Ridley Scott's audio commentary, and I listened to I watched the movie again with the writer's audio commentary, and I watched the deleted scenes, and I guess that's
which deleted scene are you guys talking about?
Yeah, which one? At the beginning there, Chris?
No, so okay.
Oh, when he talks?
No, yeah, I guess so. Actually, I didn't watch it. I've only heard the story of it, I should say.
Okay.
But there are a lot of clues that like what causes the engineer, and this, I don't know if this is going to like be favorable or not, but what causes the engineers to turn on humanity is that they sent an engineer who's Jesus like 2,000 years ago, and humanity.
Oh, that's not a deleted scene. That was something that they were thinking about doing, and Ridley was like, that was a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although at the same time, like I agree with that. In a weird way, I still kind of like it because of how it just you don't have to believe that. I don't know. It fits within atheism, I guess. It just kind of like the very act that like you'd send somebody to check in on your creation and they like crucify him, and then you're like, you know what? Fuck these guys. They're done. Cut off. That's kind of fun to me.
But fine, it might be fun, but it doesn't. Well, one, we're not actually presented in this story, so it's left a mystery as to why they're so pissed off. Although, like,
although they do say the last time they visited was 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, I suppose so. Like in the cave paintings, like in the. I'm trying to think about, like, in the text that we get. Do we get I don't know. Everything that we're told about them is just like a star being that points towards a cluster of stars. Like that. That's about it. And so it does imply, I suppose, that they come back and they ask, why would they do that? Like, that's the worst way to communicate with humans. Like with any species, just like leave cave paintings around.
Yeah,
and like,
because
oh,
we hope that someday you'll invent faster than light travel and be able to find us is pretty weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and so there's that. The ancient aliens thing I could do without. And they also, so Guy Pearce, the Wayland guy, what are they really hoping? They're hoping to find the creators of human life. Like for whatever reason, they've latched on just a whole hog to the idea that they created humans. Not sure why, other than weird ancient alien beliefs. And but what does that have to do with God? Like for anyone who is looking for answers about the meaning of life, like just the fact that you find like if you meet your biological dad after having not seen them for decades, that doesn't tell you anything about God. I guess is what it boils down to. And so like I just don't understand their motivations here.
I think that Waylon, I think he verbatim says it, is that he only had X amount of time to live. And I think he was just looking for tech.
Exactly.
To cure
That's
himself fair. or to de-age himself, and he thought that their genetic technology might be. But then there's a hole there. Why are you looking for their genetic technology? You literally find it and then you wake the guy up to kill you.
Well, they don't know that it's going to kill him. Like he has a sort of hubris. Like that gets to the Prometheus story, but
yeah.
An even better way, like why does he have to go on the ship himself anyway? Right? Like he could just stay wherever he is. And
I think he's really like in an advanced state of, like clinging to life. I think that they going with him is sort of the last ditch. Like, and I think what I like about that is just that there are these like weird billionaire tech people who like refuse, the anti-aging people, they'll invest anything. They'll spend their fortune trying to pursue it. So like $1 trillion to some space weirdo. Yeah. Like why not? At the end of your life.
I'll even tag along.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do a sandwich thing now. I said something negative, something great fucking cast on this movie, and it looks amazing. There's nothing bad about this movie's visual presentation or any of its performances. Even Fifield and fucking that other guy's stupid name, Milburn. As much as I hate those two stupid asses, I was like, okay, fine. They're the comic relief. But yeah, this movie's landscapes and effects are even more interesting and just more interesting and I guess legitimate is what I ended up walking away through. Because when I first watched this, I really thought that it was like, oh, it's just a big CGI fest. But listening to the commentary, I was like, oh, there's actual practical effects.
Ridley didn't want to use like as little as possible.
Sets. Yeah.
No, but I mean, and you have to use CGI for a movie like this. But I mean, he did try to blend as little in as possible.
Yeah. Which I didn't appreciate at the time, and now looking at it now, I was like, wow, you really fucking pulled off a lot of good tricks here.
I think he had that funny quote that I don't know, it was like another director or somebody that he held in high regard said, if you can do it for real, do it for real, or something like that.
Yeah, that's good advice. I mean, like Ridley knows what he's doing. He's insane, and he'll do any stupid fucking thing that they like, any but Raymond moron idea that they're just gonna put in front of him. He's like, yep, here we go. And sometimes like you get something excellent, but it usually looks really good. Like even Gladiator 2 was terrible, but it looked great and it was grand in a way that you expect from Ridley. And I think that this movie has another thing that moves it away from the Alien franchise as we experience it, and I said this during the Sam Keith conversation, James, is like this movie's big. Like alien movies are supposed to be claustrophobic. And this movie has some claustrophobic elements, but generally, like, it's quite expansive and open.
Yeah, and like you say, like it feels open visually, like it feels like there's room to breathe, room to escape, and that's unusual for the franchise.
Yeah,
Thinking of Naomi booking it. Oh my God, she can run.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
She booked it when the what do you call it? The engineer attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like halfway down the hallway, like a football star.
Oh yeah, she's so muscular. Just looking at her physique after she escapes her, she has to do the cesarean section while conscious.
This has some great body horror in it.
Oh yeah.
I was reading about the critter that they made there. That that thing they filled it with fucking, I think it was cow's blood, and they put the rubber creature in a condom. Just popped classic. It so it looked like a grotesque, like, sort of amniotic sac, and then her bust, like that was like a fake practical bust, so they built it up from her shoulders down. Fucking what an undertaking, and then what a performance from her to make us feel that moment. Like, she was just fucking sweating, panicking, and then she had to pretend that she was being sedated over and over again by herself, and just like you say, the cast was like, there's a couple people between her and Fassbender that basically sort of like left it all on the table, like tour de force. Like, they're really, like, Fassbender to me was even more. I found I noticed him to be even more quirky and like sort of almost buggy than I did the first few times I watched it. I sort of really honed in on him this time, and I found his android performance, like, really unsettling.
Yeah, he's got a creepy wonder to him.
Yeah, I'm looking at him. He at the scene where he's in the main room of the alien spaceship, and he sat in that chair for the first time, and he just has this big creepy smile on his face, sitting there and looking around, like he is intensely curious, and really has like a joy inside of him, but also like a compressed anger, it seems, and a resentment for everything that's occurring around him. And it plays into the themes of, like, what does the creator owe its creation, and what is the relationship between the creator and the created, and how is he hates he hates Wayland in a way.
Well, yeah, he kind of has this like ambition, and he's pursuing goals without any type of emotional baggage, because he doesn't feel anything. So doesn't feel hunger, desire, fear. So he's just pushing himself forward. He's detached, and it's like that's part of that I don't know, that's sort of part of that little quote, the Lawrence of Arabia quote that I sent in. There's nothing in the desert, and no man needs nothing. I had ChatGPT take me on an existential ride, like, trying to explain that to me in context of the movie. It's very long, and I didn't understand some of it.
Okay.
In the context of which movie? In the context of Lawrence of Arabia, or in the context of
Prometheus? Yeah.
Oh, interesting. ChatGPT had some opinions.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that David isn't detached in any way, though. I'm looking at this scene. He's literally holding the world in his hands, and it floats away, and he feels wonder. That is David's primary emotional sensation, I gather. Like, it's just a wonder at knowledge and the expanse of the universe. And I feel that, left to his own devices, he's quite happy.
Yeah.
Then when he ends up in a subservient position and he has to talk to the fucking meat sacks, he starts getting aggravated.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny that you say that too, because I guess that's almost a problem with their AI, that if it has any type of emotional capacity, then obviously that equates to a problem for all of them, right?
It is our primary problem as meat sacks, like desire. This is well diagnosed in spiritual literature. You know, like desire is the source of our suffering, and it opens up. You know, that David has a desire and he suffers as a consequence. And so we latch onto him. You know, he's not cold. He's actually quite warm, but he's also sinister. You know, he's alien at the same time as he's human.
When I first saw this, no, that's okay. Yeah, when I first saw this, it was, and I do understand, like, I think a lot of people dislike this movie because they are expecting, you know, xenomorphs and all that stuff. To me, I was excited about it because of the slant that it takes on the androids. And I think something that never seems to get talked about, like the Prometheus, like the modern Frankenstein, like the David is exactly that. And like all those themes about science and like the limits of pursuing knowledge and forbidden knowledge all double back through David, so that like this movie's just sort of like a tightly wound like instrument, and like when one thing is plucked, like it resonates elsewhere. There's all this sort of mirroring, and like anytime they talk about creation, it's reflected in David. David has the ambition, like he wants to create as well. He wants to impress his maker or discover something about it, but is always is disrespected by the maker as well. And I think that there's just like, it's so fascinating to see his perspective.
I think I see it a little bit differently. I'm picking up what you're putting down, but so if we're going to take the title of Prometheus and apply, like, you know, the Frankenstein connections there, and Chris said it, but I'll just reiterate, like the subtitle of Frankenstein, the story is, what is it called, a modern Prometheus?
Yeah.
And so that, you know, like they're riffing off that shit, and so like I think more what this movie wants to say is that we are the Frankenstein. And you know, like, and David as a consequence is also a sort of Frankenstein, and you know,
Frankenstein's all the way down.
Yeah.
That's kind of nihilistic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like we're the creation that escaped, and now David is much more closely analogous. Like you get that sort of Paradise Lost element to him, that satanic element to him.
Exactly. Which is absolutely present in Shelley's text.
Yeah. And these are just illusions, you know. But at the same time, I think you're right. But I don't think that to support my position, I think, like, how does so the fucking genealogy of what we're led to understand as the xenomorph or the face, the alien is David is created. First the universe is created. Then there's and then but so David is created by, you know, Wayland or whatever. They go on this mission. David basically just starts experimenting on people using some goo that he found in the cave. Like, it's really, there's nothing scientific about it. He's just sort of a malicious entity at this point. But anyway,
yeah, I think there's a bitterness. There's a bitterness to him because he feels that that his maker just did it because he could. Yeah, and then it makes him want to seed something greater, you know, and that's an ambition. Then again, there's another emotion, I guess.
I don't know what his motive. I think that's one of the things that kind of frustrates me, but also is interesting. Like, I'm not sure what he thinks he's doing by essentially poisoning people with space goo. And so anyway, he does that. Shaw, he gives it to what's his nose. What's the boyfriend's name?
Holloway.
Holloway. Yeah, okay. So he gives the thing. So they're Holloway and him are having the conversation, and Holloway is the one that keeps, for whatever reason, he keeps like picking on David throughout all this,
Yeah.
just digging
Yeah.
at him, you know. But anyway, so that's the moment he digs at him one more time, and then David basically makes a Faustian bargain with him, and he was like, "Would you give anything?" And he's like, "Yes," and he's like, and he drops the thing in his drink, and he gives it to Holloway. Holloway then goes and fucks Shaw. Shaw has an alien placenta baby that turns into an octopus. The octopus attacks the engineer, and the engineer, you know, ends up giving birth to the alien. And so like she is the mother of the alien. The alien itself is us.
And and it's
Yeah.
like it's got this layer of like Christianity to it because she's like sterile. It's a virgin. It's not a virgin birth, but like an impossible birth, a miracle birth.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's Christmas as well.
Yes, it is Christmas as well.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
do.
Would you
Like,
classify
it's a
this
nice-
as a Christmas movie?
I would, yeah, absolutely.
I would.
It's,
Yeah, no,
it's the
given-
blackest, like bleakest Christmas movie ever, but yeah.
Yeah, given everything that we've just said, like how could it not be a Christmas
Yeah.
movie?
I don't think David's motives are totally unfathomable. Like I think it's the reverse. It's the alien sort of conundrum, not conundrum, but like it's the impulse to create life and to turn the tables and to play God. And David has a chance to prove himself or to become equal to his maker in carrying out that experiment.
I think that's a little weak sauce because like he didn't create anything. He just found the goo in the cave. Like
But
he's just like fucking around.
Holloway
I
says
don't
the
know,
same thing,
man. Like,
it doesn't
I
take.
feel like there's some premeditated behavior to what he does. He is already aware of the language. He's already
Yeah.
aware of how to open the doors. And I think it's sort of like maybe if you want to be what do they say? What do they say at work? Generous assumptions, you know.
Mhm.
We could do that and say that you know he had some knowledge of that biomaterial, or he had theories about it.
He definitely had
And he-
theories about it. I think that's true. Yeah, because it seems to be an agent that.
I'm giving too much though, maybe.
No, I don't think.
Well,
so,
he
because-
had to have had a theory, otherwise he wouldn't have done it. But
Yeah.
still, though, like I don't see how this. I don't think I can sign on to your suggestion, Chris. Like there's nothing, because his goal at this moment is because he still serves Wayland. Like he's ultimately a servant of Wayland, and whatever action he's taking in this moment, he must think that this is going to produce some sort of answer for Wayland regarding a history of like the technology of longevity. This is
And
a
it-
test.
It does, but like in
Yeah.
that sort of like when you use a wish from a genie, it like totally backfires on you. Yeah. But Holloway himself says like, and I think there's that resonance where he says, it doesn't take much like all it takes a little bit of DNA to create a life. Like it's not a special thing. Yeah.
Oh, and then she fucking starts fucking crying.
Yeah. What does that make me?
Okay, that puts that again. Now we can return to what annoys me about this movie. I was just like, what a fucking psycho lady response to like it completely invalidates her, but maybe it doesn't because like getting back to the idea that these people are just so motivated by the ancient alien hypothesis. Now it does turn out that they're correct. Fine. Like there were ancient aliens that like seeded life on Earth and they're reaping the benefits of first contact. But like what other fucking crazy weirdo ideas lurk in the mind of these people that we don't get to see because they're just presented as heroic? There's another movie in which like we get the full gamut of what these people think in their true religious mania, and
Yeah, I was gonna say they're fanatics, right?
It is true.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I don't think that we necessarily have to
zealots.
like that they're zealots. And I think that the movie is like, again, like shading towards letting you see it that way. Like I think it does it partially through David. I think it also does it like partially through like Wayland when they ask why they're on the ship and Charlize Theron says, oh, he wants one true believer on it. So she's hand selected because of her fanaticism, and she just kind of carries through with what she's gonna do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting. Sorry, I just watched the the cesarean birth.
Oh, God,
so the amniotic thing. Yeah. I don't know what to say to build off of that other than she is a compelling character. Just like she gets through the fucking ringer. Oh my goodness. Like after this, she's on the run and like. She kind of gets bounced around from this to that. And maybe that's another complaint I have is I just feel that it's a lot of bouncing around from this to that in this movie. Like when Fifield shows up again at the outside the ship.
Yeah, I don't know that was necessary. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like it was cool, but I was like, what?
The crumpled up zombie.
Yeah, it was very cool, but I was like, what does this do for the plot? What is the value of any of this? Like,
well, Fifield and what's his name?
Milburn.
Their deaths were spectacular. And
oh my goodness!
Totally shocking. Totally changed the whole. It just changed the whole direction of the movie like instantly because they were building a lot of dread, but like I don't believe anyone thought it would end in such a mentally defective way. Like just with the worst, like a combination of like horrible choices, like you do that horror trope, where everyone's gonna make bad choices, but we're talking like fucking bad choices, like
the worst.
You let that it's just starting way back too. Like you let the robot open the door, you can see that you've made an environmental change. Like basically you opened a refrigerator and let heat in, and there's something fucking bad in the room. But everyone just starts nerding out and getting excited and poking at shit. Well, what the fuck? No. Like 8 scientists.
Yeah.
So that's just the start of it. And then leading up to the showdown with the penis snake. Hey, little sweetie.
I think it even happens. It happens definitely even before then, though. Like the stupidity just like cascades at that point. And it ends up being masked by the music, like a lot of the performances and everybody's like dedication and the pace that Ridley puts on it. And you're like, you kind of go with it. Like you're like, okay, this is not a good idea, everybody, but you're okay with it. When it starts getting really insulting to the intelligence is when Fairburn and Fifield and Milburn are okay. So Fifield has those magic balls that he throws in the air, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, and he gets the stupidest fucking like trying to be tough kind of statement. He's like, he throws the things in the air and he's like, geologist, we are mapping.
And then he howls like a wolf. These are my puppies.
Yeah. So
like,
okay,
all right. I'm not sure.
So
anyway.
it's literally his machine mapping the entire place, and he gets lost. And so I can't. I'm just like, what? You got lost? You like you're in a circle, dude.
And you're the mapping tech.
Yeah. And so they get lost, and then fucking Milburn's absolutely ridiculous. Like, and this is where the thing with Kane, Chris, like in the original movie, fine. Like a part of an alien movie is one person at least like getting too close to something biological that they shouldn't have. But this is ridiculous. Like it turns into a goddamn python. Like it hisses at it, right? Like everyone on Earth, planet Earth knows when something snake-like does that, you don't put your hand towards it. It's not like a cat.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I think the only thing that, absolutely, it is dumb. I just think that once they're separated from that ship, they're dead anyway, so it doesn't matter how, like, the form it takes, and why I can forgive, the absurdity of it.
I feel that I've forgiven it, but like I'll never consider this an intelligent movie.
No, sure, not
as
a
a consequence.
I think it's an intelligent movie that has some very dumb. I think part of it is just like it feels like they wanted to give you something like it's almost like it wanted that to be the comic relief in what had been building to dread and like just some horrific moments to come.
It's a funny way to do it, because you're right. Like, it's not comical though. They're not really like,
no,
it's,
they're really
it's
irritating.
cringe.
Actually.
Like, he's smoking
Yeah.
weed and like, oh, you're a disgrace to scientists, and you're like, this is so
yeah, they're
fucking
like
square.
yeah.
awful.
Well, Milburn's useless.
Yeah.
I don't even know what his specialty was. Fucking being a loser.
He is a loser. They're both
Yeah.
losers.
Well,
and
they oh man. Anyway, yeah, there's the dope smoking, and then the fact that they also went into the room that was clearly problematic. Let's go hang out and let's go to bed in here for the night.
yeah.
What?
Just get our little cellophane, whatever, and so like I didn't.
Taking the helmets off. There's so many. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
And so I maybe the benefit of all of that though is like when they are murdered, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
you fucking die, buddy. You suck. You're an idiot.
When Fifield gets that fucking snake jizz acid on his mask,
God.
and it like melts his mask right onto his face too.
That's awful.
That's
Yeah.
god awful.
Yeah.
Very, very clever work. I did want to tell you guys something. I read a little thing because you described the soundtrack, James, that sort of takes you along.
Yeah.
The orchestra, I guess the lead, I don't know if it's the lead person that helped with the orchestra or one of the lead people that helped with the soundtrack. He had the orchestra play the song backwards, like play the music on the sheet backwards. And then he played it, and then he digitally reversed it to play forward to make it sound unsettling.
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know that at all.
Is that a bonkers effort? I thought that was really neat detail, and I'm gonna listen for it a little harder next time, just to hear like, you know, if there's something like offbeat about the way it sounds, you know.
Yeah,
I made a note about that actually, where like the music, and even Maya was walking through the room and she said like, this is a weird sound, like it doesn't sound like a horror movie soundtrack, like it sounds more like Star Trek or something like that. But then there are these weird like sort of like dissonant elements to it that that totally makes sense.
I think that's part of the Alien sauce in general. Like we did see that in the original Alien soundtrack, where it sounds like an episode of Star Trek. It sounds like, you know, like I think I referred to it as kind of twinkly. But then and then it just goes, you know, like, and it goes into something like, James Cameron does it a little differently. He's much more of a cavalry charge is the main theme of Aliens. But every once in a while, like particularly when they're approaching the terraforming apparatus, you know, like that. You know, it's very distinctive and like that. And we get something similar here with Prometheus, but a major difference between this movie and the other two movies is that, and particularly the first Alien movie, where we talked about how silent it was all the time. By this point in Ridley's career, like it feels like he's afraid of silence. There is no silent things. There's always some kind of something going on in the background, or even music that you're not quite noticing, but is actually there. It's a bit of an emotional cheat, but it's a movie, so whatever. Like, and what do I know about selling blockbuster fucking films? Definitely not as much as Ridley Scott.
Never thought of it.
Anyway, that's cool. That's cool about the reverse thing. I'm going to listen to that as well.
I know it sounded like I had to read it back to myself a couple times. I was like, wait, what? He did what? Wouldn't that be the same normal?
Yeah. No, like, well, no, because David
Double
Lynch
reverse.
does that. No, but David Lynch does that stuff. When he does those weird dream sequences or whatever, like everything is performed and spoken backwards. And then he actually, how does he do it? And he plays it. Then he just like plays it backwards. I'm saying it all wrong, but anyway, he does a weird thing with backwards forwards as well to create an unsettling. Like he exaggerates it. But anyway,
I think he has to like speak it backwards and then plays it forward.
Yeah, something like that, but then it still comes out like what?
Yeah.
You're just like, whoa, what the fuck kind of alien language is going on here? Yeah. So okay, this movie's dumb, despite the fact that it has like Chris, I will agree that it has a lot of thematic resonances, but like it's a dumb fucking movie, and I think maybe the difference between you and I is like I can't credit a movie with having good ideas and a bad story. I think that that's just, and maybe it comes down to that Little Hoff guy or whatever this fucking name is. Like I just get the impression that guy wants to engage with these myths and these images and these symbols and that kind of thing at the expense of sense, at the expense of the intelligence of the viewer. And I think this movie is emblematic of precisely that. Like, and the only reason not the only reason, but one of the reasons it, as with Alien or any of these movies, like it's a fantastic fucking set and everyone's delivering the lines and Fassbender's amazing. But it's fucking dumb. It's like just populated by dumb people motivated for stupid reasons. And like it's cool to think about the resonances and whatnot, but like that doesn't make it good. It just makes it interesting to think about.
But that's what I want. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna put it this way: if you want to get hung up on little nerd complaints and the sort of like science fiction minor details, then you're gonna have a bad time.
The science fiction minor details. He pets a snake. He pets a snake.
Who among us is not petting a snake?
Oh no.
No, you just have to commit to like not letting like I don't know, campy choices ruin the experience for you. And I understand that's a hard sell for some people. And what can I say?
I'm on board with it now. And I was on board with it I think when I first saw it, but I did become militarized against this movie.
It was
until
I was surprised
the fateful day.
I bet it was. I bet it was like when you like Idris Elba making choices to like abandon his duty to sleep with Charlize Theron, and you're like, you could kind of get it from that point.
I think it was
that was the only good choice made.
It was a good choice, exactly.
It was absolutely the right choice to make. I like his approach. Are you a robot? And and she's just like, that's such a funny way to have like broken her icy exterior.
Yeah.
Although he is engaged in a sort of like high stakes gambling flirtation with the billionaire's daughter, like as the hired captain. I know there's no HR around, but
he's also
like
dastardly handsome fella.
Yeah. He can pull it off.
It's a oh wow, I just looked at David's fingerprint. It has a W on it, like a Wayland. His fingerprint has a W on it.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's like embossed.
Yeah. Fucking incredible. Like the design sense on all of this is just like
Maker's mark.
It's so much.
Well, they did do you remember the promotional trailers for this? Where they they were like Apple advertisements for the robot. Our new model, David.
Yeah.
It was very, very fucking creepy.
And they had all these, and I didn't go looking for them, and it's the one thing that I didn't review for this was all the videos that they put out. Like they had all sorts of fucking stuff. Their promotion for this was wild, and like I don't know, kind of rightly so. It was the new Alien movie, right, from Ridley Scott. Like it was sort of destined to be probably a big hit regardless, but it happens to have Michael Fassbender as probably like easily the most interesting character out of all of them.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm often so sad. I'm often sad about how angry you guys are at Covenant.
I don't mind it that much. I'm exaggerating for the sake of if I remember correctly, I think we were like a little more complimentary when we did our episode about it. I was fussy about it. You two were
less fussy about it. Having okay, you know, like because I've rewatched all the stuff at this point, and I still think that Alien Covenant is not as good a movie. It's
As Prometheus?
Yeah.
No,
I
I would agree.
Yeah.
Even I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and I think like even some of the animation is a little like there's just something about it that's a little off. And even it doesn't make sense for David. Like this version. Now I know we have a mad scientist David in this, but like it felt like an Alien 3 situation where they were like, we can't get Sigourney back, or we're not gonna, or like we don't want to bring back the other actors, so we're gonna kill them off. And like Numi Rapace, like Shaw just fine, he vivisects her and turns her into an experiment thing, but like that doesn't seem right. When last we see David in this movie, he's a head in a bag. The tables got turned.
Well, you did
How
say
did that
she's a
happen?
dumb character, so
Yeah, really dumb.
yeah. No, I think that's exactly it. I think that they achieve a weird sort of like, I don't know, definitely not friendship, but like there's such an interesting tension between those characters after everything they've been through together that like to not have them as the focus of the second movie was a letdown for me, and to not really see the engineers and sort of to bypass a lot of the promise of what was set up. That said, it's Covenant is definitely not a bad movie, like, but
No.
Yeah.
I don't think a sequel to this was required. It's much better to have just left it be. She flies off.
Yeah, you would never be able to give us like the secrets of life and have it be a satisfying answer.
No, because like there is no, again, like getting back to my initial thing, like okay, so you go to the engineer world or whatever, and unless you get there and there are a bunch of Buddhas, like there's some sort of, you know, like we've tapped into the metachlorines, whatever, you know, like we don't. There's no way that the way that this universe this is an ultimately atheistic. You know, like when Wayland dies, he's like, "There's nothing," and David's like, "Good journey," you know.
Yes.
That's it. That's what this movie is.
That's the black heart that stirs mine.
Yeah. So then you get to the engineers and like, what do you do? Because they don't have any answers either. Like they're going to have religions. They're going to have they've developed a death cult apparently where they seed worlds and destroy them. You know, like that makes sense to them. Like they have some sort of ecological technology.
Good point, man. Yeah, actually, yeah.
They're very
they don't have
like
answers.
nobody has any answers, and they're just motivated by destruction and creation and some sort of loop. And that's not an interesting film beyond this, right? Like David unless it turns into like David like conquering the planet in some sort of Roman Empire political intrigue kind of thing. That sounds dumb having said it out loud, but maybe something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what you do, man. You cooked an egg on it, and nothing more to do. I felt that there was a lot more nice things to say about this movie. I really want to like continue to emphasize that how fucking good everything looks, and just the amount of work that goes into this movie. It's such a production. And Ridley in the audio commentary, he's so excited. He's like, I really enjoyed this. I can't wait to make Covenant. You know, like he doesn't say it exactly like that. But he was just really pleased with this whole thing and thought it came off really well, and he had a lot of fun doing it. And he was a little.
That makes me like. Yeah, he's like the Shaw of the production, and there's only weakness ahead of him. Then we get Romulus.
Yeah, that's true. Which I guess he's the producer on that. It's a Scott-free production, right? I think that's his. No, he's Scott-free, and then Brandywine is the Geiler and fucking Hill. Which are those guys still alive? This movie says that it's produced by Geiler and Hill, like the original Aliens producers. But those guys, they have to be dead by this point.
I'm pretty sure Hill is dead.
Walter Hill's dead. Yeah, he's totally fucking dead. He's got to be. Anyway. Yeah, so I don't know, Prometheus. It's you touch the fire of the gods or whatever, and you get stuck on a mountain, and they pick out your liver, and then it heals back, and then they pick out your liver. And that's not what this movie's like, but maybe that's it's much better than that. I don't know what is there. How do we sum this up? Like what's the byline here? What's your elevator pitch?
Well, it's not aliens, I guess, but it's got more robot.
Walter Hill is still alive, gentlemen.
He's still alive.
He is 85.
Jesus.
Yeah, he lives in Long Beach, California. I got my pitch for this movie now. Finally, okay. Thank you that I know about Walter Hill. There is no God, and if you if you want to know what a universe in which the godless universe where fucking octopus tentacle creatures are our future and our past, you know where to go.
I mean, that's partly my job. I have a view. I hate to use the word vision, but I do have a vision. I know exactly what I want. That's why everyone is going, what the fuck's the table? Fucking hologram. And I think eventually you have to say honestly, shut the fuck up. You can bleep me if you like. Part of the job as a director is you've got to just stand your ground saying, this is what I want, fuck off, and that's it. Then now they're going, oh, that's great.